If you're trying to use AI to create the types of designs that I'm about to show you in this video, you're probably using it wrong, which is leading to probably very little traffic and absolutely no sales at all. So here's the right way to use ChatGPT for these very specific best-selling trendy designs. If you are new around here, I am the owner of Bailey Design Co., a 7-figure digital design shop on Etsy, and I now teach others how to create the same types of shops on this YouTube channel and in my online communities. So the types of designs that I'm talking about, whether they are for your print-on-demand products or just as digital designs, are what I'm calling the collage style. So I'm pulling up these different types of designs right now, and most of these are all under 1 month old and have a bestseller badge or have sold multiple hundreds of times. So as you can see, there are multiple elements. It is very detailed as far as the type of style. The text is definitely not AI generated, and they're very unique as far as the type of style aesthetic. So what most people will do is add a screenshot of one of these types of designs to ChatGPT or another AI image generator and ask it to describe the image and give them an AI prompt. Then they will take that prompt and plug it into their image generator. For example, this one is Midjourney using version 7. And while it does do a type of collage effect and the elements are cute, it's definitely not something that would be usable for a t-shirt design or really any other type of digital design. This doodle style one here using version 6.1 is a little bit closer as far as the style aesthetic goes, but it would take a lot of time to cut out these individual elements and then layer them in the way that the bestsellers were doing. So now I'm going to show you exactly how to create this style of design while making it more unique and definitely keeping the trendy aspect of it without actually copying it, using ChatGPT and a different image generator so that I can do this in bulk as quickly as possible. I do want to preface that I am going to upload the screenshot as I have here on my screen, but this is not about copying or replicating. It's simply about grabbing the information in a really quick way so that I can create my new version. Since I'm going to be using DALL-E 3 as my image generator, I also wanted to show you what it looks like if you try to just generate this in one prompt using the DALL-E 3 Kittle generator. So this is in Kittle, one of my favorite design tools that I regularly use. But I added the prompt that it gave me when I asked it to describe it and give me something similar. While the little images are definitely cute and they all match, again, it's not laid out in a way that would work for a t-shirt design or even for a tumbler design, which is what I typically create. Again, I could clip out all of these individually and then layer them in a similar way, but again, that's going to take way too much time. So I just wanted to show you examples of what it looks like if you try to generate these type of collage designs with just one prompt. I've tried it many times. It simply does not work. And that really does take away the creativity and the uniqueness of what comes together when you actually put it together yourself. And this is honestly how you are going to stay ahead of people who are just using one image prompt for their generations, like their print-on-demand products or their digital products, and they're not taking it any step further, making it unique, changing even the color palette or the design aesthetic. They're just simply trying to replicate what's already working. And as I've said many times on this channel, that simply does not work. If they're already established as a bestseller and have high reviews and a high ranking, you're simply not going to outrank them by copying. So over here in ChatGPT, I've uploaded the screenshot of the one that I want to create, which is a teacher retro vintage grungy look that has a lot of leopard and a lot of like pop culture types of elements and scholastic types of elements. So I asked it to take this image and first list out all of the individual elements of the collage. So it gives me over 17 different, or actually 17 different elements, so that I'm not going through and typing out individually a iced coffee, a Stanley cup, a pen, an apple, etc. Then I went on to ask it what style aesthetic are the graphics in. So then it's going to give me things like the color palette, the hand-drawn aspect, that it's a layered mixed media type of an effect, that it has trendy elements like the leopard print, the iced coffee. and so on and so forth. I really need this because I need it to give me different types of style aesthetics that I can use to make mine different. Then I said, break it down into an AI prompt so that you can recreate this exact aesthetic in DALL-E. And I wanted this just to show the example of what actually happens if you try to just recreate as is. And as you all saw, it looked nothing like what we want it to look like. So that's why we can't just take this big prompt and expect it to lay it out in a similar fashion. Then it does go on to give me a few more prompts. So it asks me, do you want 5 different aesthetic variations like Gothic teacher, coquette teacher, retro 90s teacher, and then do you want me to simplify this prompt for mid-journey? So the next point in my process for this would be to choose my design aesthetic. So it did give me a few good examples, but I could also go on here and say, what are 5 more trending Etsy style aesthetics that this would look cute in for teachers if I didn't like what it gave me. Since I know I'm going to use the Gothic teacher one and combine it with Halloween, that's what I'm going to go with. So the next step is to say, I need to make individual clip art images for the list below. Format each into an AI image prompt, and this part is really important. It needs to be individual in the Gothic Halloween teacher aesthetic. And I will have this entire prompt flow included in my free community. If you want a direct link for that, just comment the word collage and we will send you the direct link to that. It is in my free community, but it is rather large, so it can get buried in there. So again, the link for that, just comment the word collage and we will send that directly to you. So then I copied those 17 different elements all down here below. Then it goes ahead and provides me with all of my individual prompts for those little individual elements. So finally, there is one more step to this prompt, and this is to keep as individual prompts for each image, but remove the numbers, which are the little numbering effect. Keep them one space in between each prompt. Change the background to white on each instead of transparent. For whatever reason, ChatGPT likes to do that when you're putting in that you're going to create individual elements or clip art. But I found if you use transparent, it'll give you actual black and white backgrounds. And so it's easier just to remove the background if I have them on a white background. And I'm doing this part just because I am going to be creating these in bulk. If you are not creating in bulk or aren't using an AI image generator that creates in bulk, then you could skip this step and you could just grab them from your little numbered list. But for me, I need to create all of them at once. Okay, so my next step is actually to go ahead and generate the images. So I'm over here in my designs, and with Dream AI, they have several different image generators that you can use, and I created mine with DALL-E 3 in mind. So that is the one that I've selected, which is right here. I always use the style Vivid, and then the quality is HD. So I need to make sure the parallel prompts is turned on, so you can toggle that here, right here, and then you can go ahead and copy and paste your list in here. Then I've just clicked on Dream, and that has taken me about 2 minutes to actually generate all of these, and I get 2 different choices. Some of them I will be taking both of them, and this is what I mean with the transparent. It's before I switched it, so I don't like this type of trying to remove this background. So this is why it's been switched to the white version. Okay, so now I'll just start scrolling through and save all of the ones I'd like by clicking on them so I can download them all at once. So I liked this first paperclip one, and don't worry if there are things cut off or they're all laid out like this. We're gonna have a quick and easy fix for that. Same as like things like this where it did kind of like its own collage effect with all of these different elements, but this is actually really good because then we didn't have to generate more of, say, a spider web or this feather, for example. Some more paper clips here, some little ink splotches. This coffee one turned out really, really good. This is exactly like the type of style that I'm looking for, whereas this one is not. We have some globes here. Again, don't worry that there are other elements. There's a quick and easy way to get rid of these so that we have the type of effect that we're looking for. So sometimes it would generate something exactly that I'm looking for, which would be like this, whereas with this, it's more photorealistic. But then with the two ABC chalkboards, it did them both in like a watercolor clip art style. Then we have some backgrounds that will both work, some leopard backgrounds, rulers, both of these would work well, and some more types of wallpaper designs. The only one that I was concerned about was this coffee one, but I do really like this coffee one. But this would definitely get me in trademark copyright territory. If you aren't familiar, this is the Scream ghost face, and there are lots of takedown for this individual character all of the time on Etsy. So avoid that. I'm going to use the cup still, but I'll show you how I'm going to get away with it because I do like most of it, but I'll show you that in just a moment, and then some books. So I'm just going to create my design over in Canva because I have a ton of elements that I've uploaded myself over the years to Canva, as I only used to use Canva to design all of my products and my print-on-demand designs. And so I also have a ton of fonts over there, so it's just really easy for me to grab just because I know what I already have. So that's why I'm using Canva today. And I've set my canvas at 4,500 by 5,400 and then just clicked create new design. In my uploads, I've already uploaded all of my little individual elements and they've all been upscaled already. So this is important. If you have my designs and you have the listings, you can upscale them over there. You just would copy them to your listings and upscale them in bulk, or you could download them individually and upscale them individually, or you could use a bulk upscaler tool as well. Me personally, I have Topaz, the gigapixel upscaler, so you could use that. Really, any upscaler is going to work. So now is the fun part about laying out this design. So the first step that I always do is to put my text. So I need to put my text first because I need to make sure all of my elements work around it and don't overlap it or overlay it in a way that you can't read it. So for mine, I'm not going to have the exact phrase that theirs had, which was just teach in the like Def Leppard type of a style of a rock font. Mine is going to be spooky teacher, which is still a really popular Halloween saying. So I've just laid that out vertically here, and then I'm going to change my font to one of my favorites, which is this one, and then make sure that I close up all of this line spacing in between it by shortening up the line spacing. So that is right here, and I didn't highlight all of it. So if you don't highlight all of it, it won't do it all at once. But I just need to move all of these up together so they're basically overlapping a bit. Then I'm going to add my other line, which is the word spooky, and I'm going to flip that around. I like to use a script font when I am coordinating with a different type of a block text like this. So that's why I'm changing this one to this one here. And I've actually used this layout with the different text quite a few times in other types of designs, so I know that it works really well when they are together. Okay, so now that that part is set, it's just time to start the creation process. And I try not to overthink this. I know a lot of people will be like, well, I don't understand layout. With these types of designs, it's really about a collage effect where lots of the different elements are overlapping each other. It is meant to look messy. It is not supposed to be perfect, so I wouldn't spend a lot of time trying to analyze your design and make sure that the layout is something perfect. So I'm just adding each of these individually and then removing the background because I forgot to actually do that step. And if something like this happens where the background of that purple part came out, that's perfectly fine for me with this type of design because I didn't really want the purple anyway. But just try not to let, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. I know a lot of people, when they do clip art, they tend to fuss about the background not being perfectly removed, but it's not going to really matter with this type of design just because we want it to look messy and not perfect. So this is an example where something was cut off both on either side. Again, it's not going to really matter because you can just simply cover it up with something else. So for this one, I'm gonna kind of layer it so it blends right into the teacher part right there, so it doesn't matter now on this part, and then I'll make sure something covers it up over here. And then you're just going to want to repeat the process with as many different elements that you have. Also, one of the big benefits of using Canva is their built-in elements. So let's just say that I need some extra spider web. So I can just type in spider web and then make sure that I filter by free. So I don't use any of the pro elements anymore in Canva after all of their back and forth of what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do with digitals or PODs. So I just keep it free so it doesn't matter. But as you can see, there's usually so many elements, you're not going to really need to worry about it. And if you do need something extremely specific and you're not seeing it, you can always go back to your AI image generator and download or recreate one and then add it. For ones like this where it generated multiple different designs, my quick little hack is just to grab the eraser tool and erase what you don't need. So I only want this one, so I'm just going to get rid of the rest over here, and I only really need to do this little line because then I can crop it there and then it's good to go. So, and then I can just add it back in or copy paste if I want to, if I need it somewhere else. So now it will just look like this, and I can just throw it wherever I need. It's also really easy just to duplicate your little images once you've formatted them or clipped out other parts so that you can add them to different areas so that you don't have to have a constant need for a lot of different AI generations if you don't want to. If you want every little image to be completely unique, then you can also do that as well. So finally, it is time to add our backgrounds or use our patterns that we generated. And so one of the easiest ways to do this is just to use the Canva frames. So in Elements, if you just type in Canva frame, you're going to be given a lot of different types of frames, which are right here. And some of them look like swatches. So this would be a good example here. And then you can just drop your pattern in there so it doesn't look like a big square behind as the way that it was generated with the AI tool. So for this one, I'm just going to kind of turn it this way. So a little bit more vertical, make it a little bit bigger so that it covers way more behind there, but it's not just one big square. Then I'll go back to my uploads and choose the one that I want. So I'm going to use this guy with both the leopard, the skulls, and the skeleton. And as you can see, it will fill it out in the pattern of the frame. So, and then I'll just layer it to the back. So send to back. And then you have something like a grungy, like rustic type of a swatch. So it's not, again, perfectly square. So I'm going to do that a couple times with the other ones just to fill out the rest. And then I will add a quick outline to my little letters here or my quote so that it really pops against this. So now for my letters, I've just went to the effects tab after I've grabbed my actual font here and then just chose outline. And then you can choose whatever color makes sense for your design. Typically, I will choose white if it is using black letters just because it makes more sense. And then sometimes I'll do a different coordinating color with the script font. So again, effects on this one, outline, and then choose the color. So I'm going to try and see if there's a different color that might look cute with this. Purple could work, or more of like a tan beige color could work as well, just because of all of the leopard print, which is what I think I'm gonna go with. And then you can control how thick it is right here by moving that up and down. So here is the overall design. There is definitely something missing right here. So I need to go and figure out what I need to add right here. But as you can see, I have 3 different swatches in here for the backgrounds, but you do want to leave a little bit of negative or white transparent space just to make sure it's not like completely just one big block of different types of designs. Okay, so to fill it out, I just added another one of the paper clips, made it a little bit bigger, and then added a few bats so it just didn't have a big white space right there. I'm also going to move this over just a bit to be on this side so that I can move this little chalkboard over, just because now that I read it, I can't see the A. and that is part of the whole school thing. So we want to make sure that we can read the ABC on the chalkboard. Okay, and so there you have it. I downloaded it as a transparent PNG and then added it to a trendy, pretty coordinating mock-up with the orange sweater. It is always better just to upload it on a white background if you are selling the digital design and you don't have access to high converting mock-ups. Usually these can be found on Etsy itself or Creative Fabrica. It's better if you're not going to use high quality mock-ups just to do it on a white background, and they sell just fine that way. But for my print on demand products and for a lot of my PNG t-shirt designs, I will use a mock-up like the one showing right here. So hopefully this gave you some insight on how to use ChatGPT a slightly different way to come up with these types of designs. I know, again, it takes a lot of extra work. However, this is not going to be able to be done with just a single AI image generation. So it is in your best interest to try a little bit more and put a little bit more time and effort into it. It still is a rather easy process. Overall, I only used about half of the elements, so I probably could have got away with not generating so many, using so many credits, but again, I can always keep them for other types of designs. I 100% could repurpose this design into a tumbler wrap or into some other type of Halloween decor item as well. So again, if you want that entire prompt flow, then just be sure to comment the word collage, and I will send a direct link to that in the free community. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.